Today is a very special episode. Once again, we are welcoming an incredible guest. Maya Washington Hilding is a mom, a wife, an artist, a creative producer, an author, a certified doula, and a photographer. Maya has dedicated her life to empowering women through faith, creativity, and vulnerability. Beyond holding the most sacred title of mom, Maya is a storyteller and speaker whose raw reflections on motherhood have deeply resonated with women everywhere. She's the author of My Shameless Struggle into Motherhood, a powerful survival guide about her journey in the early stages of motherhood, touching on practical tips, faith, family, and creativity. With an evolving faith at the center of her life, Maya's mission is to empower women to overcome fear through faith and to create shamelessly with God. Maya, welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
No, thank you for joining us. Thank you for saying yes to coming by. Perhaps our viewers are followers, right? They've been watching your journey from day one, and maybe there's some who are just joining in and they're like, who's this Maya girl? But like start from, I guess, really the beginning, right? You are a Scarborough girl, born and raised here in the GTA. You come from a mixed background, and you've blossomed into this multifaceted creative. But yeah, the beginning of it starts in the city.
Yeah. Okay, so it started back in 2012 as a social media experiment on what would happen if I was shameless for a year. And that started in New York. And what took me there was love. I was married, and that brought me to New York, but it was through the heartbreak of divorce that kind of pushed me to my limits of let me explore more of this being shameless, because I was so ashamed of being divorced at 30. Like, to go through a divorce in a city, again, not mine, kind of there chasing this thing and being so embarrassed that I'm like, I don't even know how to process this. Like, I'm still trying to even figure out marriage, and now I have to wrap my head around divorce. And I was so embarrassed, I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know anyone else in my age bracket going through that. So really, I just poured myself into my creativity on YouTube, of all places. I didn't share that chapter of my life. I was just pouring out like work, pumping out videos. And I took on this challenge just to push myself out of my comfort zone. And in the process of doing that, I encountered God. I picked up the Bible to help me through this divorce. And it was a journey. It took me to LA and then finally Sweden. But it was literally this, Scarborough girl trying to figure herself out in New York and realizing that shame and fear holds us back a lot. But now, as a grown woman in her 40s, learning that those do hold you back. You can be shameless in your own strength as much as you think you can, but it's really that relationship with God that's going to take you into the truth of what He desires for your life. Like, otherwise, I'm still online making videos, chasing numbers and dollars, and for what? Yeah.
Did you grow up as a Christian? Was God always in your household?
Yeah. I mean, my mom's Filipino, so by default, we're Catholic. So we had that as a foundation Catholic school, but I wouldn't say that was anything beyond practice, like Sunday. And I shouldn't downplay it, actually. I need to correct myself. My mom prayed a lot over me and my brother, but I did not know anything about more than what you learn in maybe Sunday school.
Yeah.
And that was very basic. I didn't view God as or Jesus as a friend or
confidant.
Maybe, someone you reach out to when you're struggling, but not to walk like a human, talk to someone, like a friend. So that came about through my divorce in New York. And it's funny that I even chose the name Shameless, because I was reading the Bible at the same time, and Jesus did inspire me, but I feel like it was Jesus and all these other creatives. And what I saw in all of them was there was this, unashamed approach to living life. It's just putting yourself out there, regardless of the consequences. And through the divorce, I came to a bit of a relationship, but it wasn't until motherhood. Because I started to go kind of like similar paths for some other people, lukewarm. And then when I became a mom, I struggled so much that I turned back to God. And this time it was like, you're mine. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. Like, God was so colorful, so real.
I can relate to the part about, just processing a divorce in the midst of a separation. I know, unfortunately, that, there's a lot of women out there that are probably going through something similar, right? Being in a situation that you never expected or you weren't planning, right? And then how do you deal with that? How do you ask God, this was not part of the plan. I did not see this being the outcome. We know that things work out, right? Yeah. And I'm sure now, like you said, you're now a woman in your 40s and you can look back on that chapter of life. But can you share with us what it was like going through it?
It's embarrassing. I think that's the best way to describe it, because you think life is according to this plan. Like, you're told consciously or unconsciously that, you achieve this by this age, you achieve that. And so you think marriage is the goal. And so that's what I thought. And I never anticipated divorce. I'm very loyal, very stubborn. And so when it happened, I just didn't have the language to explain that to my family, to my friends. But I don't know anyone on this earth who has it all together. And that's why I think there is freedom in Jesus, because he's the only one. He's the only one that can help you through your brokenness. If you're going through any kind of struggle, heartbreak, trauma, God will help you through that. I just, looking back, my one regret is using him as a spare tire. So reaching out to him when I needed help, and when I was on my own 2 feet, then I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Good. Peace.
I don't need to read I don't need to seek him anymore. And so that I would say is my maybe not regret, but lesson learned, that God can help you in the lows, but he can also rejoice with you in your highs. So if you're going through the struggle, call on God. He's going to help you. But also, I think just as a friend or any kind of relationship, you don't want to be that friend that only hears when you're struggling.
For sure.
Those friends.
Yeah, and that's kind of how sometimes, right, it's almost going to him like a genie, or as opposed to, like you said, journeying, walking through life in general. It's not just a get out of jail free card. It's not just a spare tire or I need you to come through. But it's through everything. Through everything. You meant the experiment in and of itself, this idea of essentially pouring yourself, your heart, your wearing it on your sleeve for the whole world, for the internet to see. Especially on YouTube and during a time, like you said, starting in 2012, when now, yes, so many people do it, but you were years ahead of what is now so many people are doing. What was that like, kind of carving your own path? I think there is is there still a stigma around it?
No, I don't think so.
Not as much, maybe?
Not as much.
Or not.
I think it's very normalized now. And I think everyone, even kids have their own YouTube channels and whatnot. But I think
that's different though. Okay, but to
content
pour
creation,
your heart?
basically, pour your heart. I think there are a set few people that do it still, and I don't think it, in my personal opinion, no. But I know when you started, because I remember first seeing your videos, and I was like, this is so different, and because I was in my 20s. I was no, I was in university. Somewhere I was late 20s or something, and I've never seen anything like it. What you were doing, and I was intrigued. And it was very different, and I don't remember anyone doing something that you were doing. So
it was definitely the way I approached it was, I am a photographer, and then I went to school for theater school, and so I was just yes, I guess I shall combine these two and try my hand online from the prompting of a friend who suggested it. But I was critical of this idea of like being online. I'm like, who's on YouTube putting up videos? Like, YouTube is for DIYs, like how to fix plumbing, how to, you know, for me, it was like how to fix something, because that's the only time I would be online. But I was more interested in my opinion about it. So I was critical to YouTube. And at the time, Instagram didn't even, maybe it did come about. It was just starting. It just opened up from like iPhones to Android. Yeah. That's like just before that. So I do think people had opinions. I had an opinion for sure. But I think because it was so new and you didn't look at it as a job, it was just a place to have fun. And then opportunities came about because of it. It was just very exciting. It was a lot of fun and exciting. And I feel like the internet has had this journey of like excitement of like, what is this unknown? And now I think it's in a place of career. Like this is a job. This is a career. Like let's focus and take this seriously, which I think works. But I think for people with my personality, we're very like creatives and trying to find the fun in something that is now a career.
But you're doing that. I feel like, right?
I still.
You're balancing the fact that, okay, yes, you know, like being as a creative, and one of the streams of that being a content creator is sharing online, building this online community. But you still find a way to document it authentically. And that includes now, you know, like you said, the parts where you've had to lick your wounds online, but then the parts where you've also found joy in real time online. And like that goes from, you know, going through the divorce, but then finding love and then entering a season of your life in like mature motherhood that maybe you didn't even expect. Like, can you share with us that journey? Like, did you think that it was still possible for you? Or was there a point that you may have lost hope
for motherhood?
Yeah.
I was still trying to process a divorce and then seeing like even my own upbringing with my mom, being raised by a single mother. So my head wasn't on motherhood so much as it was, is it possible to have a healthy family? So that was my focus. Like, kids to me are a byproduct. I don't want a kid. I kept saying, I don't want children. I want a partner. I want a family. And if a child enters a picture, that's great. But like, first and foremost, I need that solid man in my life. And so when I met Max, who is now my husband, I never yearned to have children, to be honest. So when he entered the picture, and the more I got to know him and see how caring and loving and supportive and all these things, then I was like, I want to give this man, baby. Like, then I will say I went into that headspace. But
would you say it's because he allowed you to dream different dreams and like imagine things, like a life that you at that time didn't see was possible?
For me, I saw that I could still be myself with him. With the other relationships I was in, marriage or otherwise, even dating, I always saw that my strength was an intimidation. So either I had to pull it back, tone it down, or like I just had to compromise myself.
100%.
So when it came to Max, I didn't have that anymore. So I was like, wow, it's possible? Is it? And it was, I approached life with questions. Is it possible? Like, what would happen if I was shameless? So when I met him, that's when I was just like, okay, not so much motherhood, but family is possible with him. And then the motherhood part, people were projecting their
fears or insecurities on you.
And I was just like, I'm not even keeping track of this, because the women in my family had children later. So my mom had, I guess, like me at 36.
Okay.
My aunts had kids in their 40s. Like, it wasn't so foreign to me. And I was just like, oh, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I was so curious that people were like
so
time's ticking. And I was just like, would you be quiet? Yeah. So I wasn't so much afraid. And then when I would read the Bible, you're seeing these stories of like 90-year-old women. I was
Sarah,
like, wait a minute.
Abraham,
If Sarah can, like have the pharaohs like on her, and she's a 90-year-old woman. And she's like hiding because she's so beautiful at 90. Like, I think I have a chance. Yeah. I think I have a slight chance.
I think there's
and then,
a chance.
Logic told me I only need like 1 egg. Because everyone's like, oh, you only have a set amount of eggs.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, yeah, but how many eggs do you actually need to have one baby? Just, 1, right? Okay, so if I just got one good one, then the 99 are fine. Like, just give me one.
So funny. I just was
remember
posting a video about all you need is one.
All you need is one.
Like, you're good. I know.
And so
people
it's this
love to
fear.
do that. The fear. I know.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I don't know. Obviously, people care about you. I think it's a projection thing, but it's like, just, it doesn't help anything. But then, you start to be like, okay, like you hear the TikToking, and then hopefully again you have strong faith, and you understand that God has you have a story, that God's written for you. But how has your faith, brought you to this point of meeting Max? And like, I think maybe some people want to know, like, how did you meet Max? Because did you follow this guy? Like, how did you guys meet? Like, what is?
So actually,
how did you end up in Sweden?
Somebody actually pointed out, like, wow, that must have been God, like, divine, because I was living in LA, he was living in London, and we both did a solo trip in Colombia. So we were both on a solo trip, and I was very much on my
eat, pray, love.
Yes, and I was very intentional because I had started dating like with more intention because divorce, I was single forever, and then I started to casually date. I'm like, I don't want to casually date. I'm like, I'm a grown woman. Like, stop being, like, have intention and focus. Are you dating because you want to marry, or are you dating to waste your time, girl?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I'm dating for marriage. And so I was very intentional. I was reading all the books, and I went on this trip with that in my mind, not thinking like, I'm going to like catch a man, but it was, it was my birthday, actually. It was my birthday weekend. So I've been wanting to do a solo trip forever and never got around to doing it. At the time, I was in LA, and the culture of social media was like brand travel. So you're always on a flight somewhere with a group of influencers promoting something.
Yeah.
So
this was just you.
Yeah, this was like, I am taking money out of my own pocket, booking this, doing that. And so I met Max on this trip, and I was so unarmed because he was 12 years younger. He is.
Okay, girl.
He's 12 years younger than me. And to be quite honest, I've never dated a white guy. So here's this.
Girl, Maya, we have so much in common, because the idea of dating outside of your race and younger scares the bejeebies out of me.
So that's why I didn't go into it thinking like, oh, me and this guy are dating. Like, when on those apps, like you're going in with this mindset of dating.
Yep.
So when I met him and we were talking, I'm just like, oh, 2 theater students, like past theater students, just talking and having fun. Because I have friends that look many different shades, and so I did not feel intimidated by him at all. And so he got me when my guard was down. Like, we're just like having fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then when I went back to LA, I was like, what a great guy that I met. Like, what an awesome friend. Because he reminded me of like my theater school friends. Oh. And he just kept calling.
Okay, he
and
found his wife.
You friend zoned him, and mentally, you're like, he is the greatest male friend I've ever stumbled upon.
Yeah.
And he's over here like, I done found my wife.
Yeah.
No, I think the same thing.
Oh.
Okay. You know what? We have to ask him, because, but I think he was like, she is way out of my league. But he kept reaching out to me. And I remember like, he called me once. He's like, I didn't know you lived in like a huge home. He's like, let me see your home. And he like FaceTimed me. And I was just like, this is so interesting, because at the time I was dating a few other guys. Like, one, he was like this tall, dark, handsome Christian. The other one was
the quotation.
The quotation, because I said, and then the other one was a Colombian. He was atheist. And then I had this like third option. And I was just like, this is interesting, because I'm with these other guys. And especially the tall, dark, and handsome one, he was Christian, but he was so intimidated by me. Like, he didn't ask questions. He wasn't like, he might have been curious, but he didn't want to like show his cards type of thing. And then Max is like, show me your home.
Show all the cards.
Yeah. He's like, so tell me about how do you get paid? Like, he was just so upfront about his curiosity that I was just answering, and it was like question and answer. So it was just funny that I didn't take him as a prospect. I was looking at these two guys, and then he was like the oddball, and I was like, this is very interesting. Where is this gonna go? And yeah.
When you found out how old he was, like, did you find out right away that
I found out right away.
Oh, okay.
So that's
my husband's
why
younger, but I found out a few, interactions later. But
no, I found it right away.
Okay.
And that's why I was like, no.
Yeah, I
And
thought 4 years was a lot for me, but like 12.
Can you imagine 12?
No.
Like, the amount of mental things I had to get over, because I was just like, when I was 12 you were literally in your mother's womb.
Walk us through, if you don't mind, quickly, like, how did you get over those mental blocks?
Because I started to focus on, okay, all of those things aside, like, because when I was dating, what I removed on my like criteria was bald, short, like height. I was like, you have all these limits of like all the things that you will not do, but you've already given a shot to these men who have treated you like crap. And they're like, on resume, they look good. So I was like, clearly you're not a good judge of character, Maya. So you need to eliminate these things that you have and be more open. And so even though I was open, I still had my list of like, like kind, generous, like all of the things. And he literally, I had written this out before I met him. And so when I read my journal, what I wrote, and I'm like, I wrote, one of the exercises I did was like an ideal date. And I started crying because we had done the ideal date in Colombia, which was being in nature, doing something adventurous. Anyways, all the things. And we had done that. And I was just like, oh my goodness, you wrote this. He came in a way you didn't expect. Because I didn't write, has to look like this,
right.
Has to be like, no.
You wrote things that matter.
Yeah.
That truly matter.
That to me truly matter. I know for some people, they couldn't, but what I wrote out, and obviously this list can change at any point, but what I had written down, I had. So now it's just like, okay, it's almost like, I feel bad using this analogy, but are you going to take this fish or are you going to toss it back in the sea? Because there are like loads of people, if you have that scarcity mindset of there's more women than men, it's just like, but again, you only need one man. Right? You don't need 100 of them.
No, but that's also a beautiful testament for you, especially because, like you said, God sent you what you truly wanted and desired. Yeah. It just didn't look like how it was going to come. So it's that whole analogy of like, he's giving you the eggs and the flour and the sugar, but it was up to you to see it for what it was, which is the ingredients to make a beautiful cake.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but most people would be like, no, I asked for a cake, God, you gave me flour.
Yeah. And then, and then there was the other option, but I was just like, I am not clicking with this guy. Because on resume, he like 6 figures, multiple cars, like had the looks, had everything. But it was funny because this guy was seeing me on like kind of like on a detour, because he was on his way to like Vegas with his friends, his boys from London, and he was gonna squeeze me in. Meanwhile, there's Max, who was 12 years my junior, who bought a ticket on a credit card, even though he was working like a summer job as a cleaner to go to school. And I was just like, this is so bizarre. Like I could actually, it wasn't like I was desperate. I was literally comparing the two. And I was just like, this guy has no money, but he's making a way. This guy has money and he's not making a way. He's just like, oh, I'll see you on the way. So I'm just like, okay. And if I had a fourth option, maybe, but God just gave me, he's like, here are the 3. I want you to figure out what it is that you want.
And I think a lot of women, before we make mistakes and learn from our past, that we often go with what society would agree with.
For sure.
What we think looks good on paper, but it doesn't align with our heart. But we're hoping that, we'll get there.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so glad there's no way. Because I was like kikiing with my girlfriend. I was just like, this guy on paper, like my friends would think I'm a fool for not.
What did your girlfriend say though when you?
Okay, hold on, because I have to be the referee. We've been had the buzzer, so we are going to pause. Okay, we're gonna pause, and we are gonna see you back in the third quarter, which you're watching Mama and Her. All right, welcome back to the third quarter, second half of Mama and Her. We are joined by the amazing Shameless Maya. And so we've been, wasn't really expecting this to turn into like a dating segment, but it's like, sort of where the conversation is going.
Yeah.
But we were sort of mentioning too, because I shared with you, as someone who is, in the midst of going through something like what you went through in 2012, right? Going through my own version of separation and divorce right now. I've thought to myself, and I think perhaps maybe if there's women who are listening who are in similar situations going through a divorce that they weren't expecting to go through. I've now had questions where I don't know if, there is someone else out there for me. I don't know if that's what God will have for me. There is a very good chance that maybe it's like your job is to be a good mom to your daughter and to be, a friend and be walk in your purpose, but maybe this is not the end. And so my question for you is like, did that ever cross your mind, or were you like, no, okay, that didn't work out, but I know God has someone out there for me?
I think, well, how long has this process been going on for you? Out of my
a few years.
So when I went through mine, I was not in the headspace of that at all, like any kind of dating, like serious actually, for like 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, Maya, what is it that I was checking in with myself, to be honest. I might have checked in with God, but I was lukewarm. So I was like, where are you at, Maya? Like, do you want to date? Because if you want to date, do you want to get married? Like, what is it that you want? So I was reading the books, and I also started to see a therapist. I was like, do I have daddy issues? Because like, I'm like dating these guys that are like really not good. Like
on paper but
I'm like, this is not it. So I went through that. And when I was getting clear on that, and some time had passed, I'm also no longer, because when I was living in New York, I was living in the projects, married to, he started out great, and then it was just like downhill. So I am not the person who started dating lukewarm. I would say you're not lukewarm. So now I would say, seek God first in everything you do, and God will guide you. Because this time with God alone where you're at, He's gonna work through you. And I just, sometimes, when you're a mother and married, your calling is to that.
Yeah.
Like my conflict right now is the husband. It says in the Bible, the husband is the head. And I was like, oh my goodness, is he the head? Because I'm out here acting like I'm the head. So again, even that goes counterculture. Like, we have been brought up in a world that tells us that you can be an independent woman, have it all, have the children, the marriage, all the things. And I'm just like, wait a minute, you're not giving us all the facts, because I went through a divorce. I can't speak to you, but I can speak to me. When I look back, I'm like, man, I was out here calling the shots. Like, it was my way. And I was so like used to being the one in control. That's how it started with Max, because I was 12 years older. I'm the one like calling the shots. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one with the experience. And becoming a mother, I was no longer strong in my strength. I was no longer the breadwinner, because now I have to take care of this little thing on the countryside of Sweden. So I needed to lean on him. And in that process, God was teaching me, like, he is the head. Christ is the head of every man. He didn't say Christ is the head of Christian men. He said every man. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to learn how to listen. I don't know how to listen. And so I would say a lot of women, myself included, we don't know how to listen to men. We don't even know how to listen to God because it says God is the head of every man. So we're not actually listening to God if we're not even listening to our significant others. So I was just like, man, even up till now, like it's a constant rewiring, renewing my mind in Christ because I grew up with a fire-blooded Filipino mother.
Yeah.
And I took that into my previous marriage. And if I'm going to prevent those same worldly things coming into this, I have to constantly check myself. And I don't want divorce, but you will not go wrong when you put your faith in the word and him first, and he'll lead you. And the time that you have without a husband is like, it's such a sacred moment. Like sometimes I wish I spent more time with God before motherhood, before becoming a wife. Like I'm just like, I wasted so much time because in the countryside, when I don't have the distractions of the world vibrating, going at this pace, it's almost as if God took me under his wing and was like, let's do this again.
That's so good. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And so he's been shedding all the the onion layers and revealing his heart to me. And it's like, I no longer desire to chase the things that I want. And I'm just like, what is it that you want from me? Because whatever that is, it beats anything that this world has to offer. To the woman who's not married, who's going through a divorce, separation, just putting your faith in him and his word. And even if you're married, man, like then it's like, I want to say marriage is even harder because now you have to, if you are trying to listen to God, it says he is the head. And I'm like, but I want the room like purple, like I wanted this color. And so my husband and I, we bought a new house and the prices in homes in Sweden are very cheap.
Yeah.
It's like a fraction of the cost of a down payment here. And so even in this new home, women tend to be like, I want to do this color here. This is the theme. This is my mood board. And now I'm like, so Max, what color do you like? Oh, what are you thinking about these floors? And he says things that I don't like. And I'm just like, and I'm not saying to women, like, you have to be like a rug to be walked over.
Right.
But can you at least listen? And so now my challenge in this season is, okay, Max likes green. Make it work. If you think you're so creative, Maya, make the color that you don't like work. So,
no,
I don't know if I answered.
No, you did. And it's humbling. And absolutely, like, from speaking from my own experience, I could absolutely, in reflection now, look back and say that there were things that I absolutely take ownership of in the ending of our marriage that, like, yeah, could I have listened more? Was I headstrong? And I think any woman, again, like you said, going through divorce, right? Like, to be, whether it was amicable or someone did something, whatever the reasoning is, I think the humbling part is looking back on what did you do? Like, to have ownership of the parts that you played in something not working out. But to your point now, if there are women who are now in this process that, while it stemmed from something terrible, i.e. a divorce or i.e. a separation, if it brought you back, if it reeled you back into your relationship with Christ, then it is worth it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I find myself, because I idolized my marriage. I absolutely idolized my marriage, and I put it on a pedestal before God, and that's not the way to do it. So I think even good things can become idols in our lives.
Yes.
Just like how motherhood can become an idol if we let it. Just like how good things that come from God, but if we let it supersede our first love, which should be Him, it still can end up being a bad thing. But. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Second overtime.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Second OT. But before we wrap up,
fined.
That's okay. We don't have a commissioner. It's fine. We usually end off our episode with rapid fire questions.
Okay.
We ask them to all of our guests, and everyone gives a different answer, and so we'll just throw them out, and you tell us what's the first thing that come to mind, and then we'll wrap things up.
Okay.
All right. So motherhood is.
Patience.
What is the best advice about motherhood you have ever been given?
Best advice. I don't know if it was advice, but it's the one that sticks. You didn't just birth your daughter, you birthed yourself.
Ooh. That's a good one. What's the worst advice you've been given?
Worst advice? Oof. I wouldn't say advice, but like people sharing their opinions about my daughter and what would be best for her. You don't know that.
You don't know. I wish my mom told me.
I wish my mom told me everything. I wish my mom told me. I wish my mom was there, is what I wish. Yeah.
And what would you tell your younger self if you could?
I would tell my younger self, God first above all things. Priorities.
All right, save yourself a lot of heartache.
Yes.
Love that. Awesome. Well,
This has just been incredible.
yeah, thank you honestly
you.
so much for just honestly your vulnerability, hearing your story and just sharing it with us and with our community. Where can folks, keep up with you and Max and Saga and just everything you got going on?
Yeah, you could follow us. We're most consistent on YouTube, so Max and Maya Living. And on Instagram, I'm sometimes there at Maya's World. But yeah, those are the most prominent places you'll see me.
Amazing.
All right. Well, on
Thank
behalf
you.
of Maya, Shan, myself, we thank you so much for
Yes.
coming along with us on this episode. And yeah, we hope there's a bit of inspiration in there for you. And we just appreciate you joining with us. And again, you can always follow us on our socials as well at Mama and Her Podcast. So until next time, we'll see ya.